So hi, my name is Elena Poughia and I'm the Managing Director of Dataconomy Media, and I'm here with Ellen Friedman, one of my favorite people in the industry, a very inspiring person. I've met her last year here at Berlin Buzzwords and she really inspired me ever since, and I really wanted to interview her one day. She does consulting for MapR. Also, she's the committer at Apache Mahout. An Apache drill, and she's also an O'Reilly author. So please, if you can introduce yourself a bit and talk to us about what you do and what's your favorite part of your job.
Well, thank you very much for having me here. This is one of my favorite conferences, so I'm just happy as soon as I show up, and you hear a lot of happy noise going on. People, I think, enjoy a lot of this conference beyond just the talks. It's an opportunity to see people that often they're working with remotely, so that makes a big difference. I work across a number of different fields, but for me, I work sometimes with the technical side of things, but helping people to communicate what they're doing in a way that can help build their projects, can help them work across teams that have different sort of experience, both internal communications within companies, within these open source projects, externally. If you're working within open source software, you're building your software, you want somebody to use this. In some cases, these software projects are very innovative, and so a larger community of users may not know how to recognize that that's a useful tool to them. So I work with people to help get that information out, and I do this also with MapR. And the books that I've written are written for O'Reilly, are written with Ted Dunning, and we strive to have these be a short read that people can understand these new ideas, understand where to go deeper with them. But the thing that's a little unusual about them is they're very technical topics, but we write them so that they can work with both a technical and a non-technical audience.
Which is definitely something that we're really interested in, given that for our platform we have a lot of readers who come now, they're new into data science and they're aspiring data scientists and they really want to understand how to use the tools, or they are business professionals who want to see the value of data science in their business. So it's definitely interesting to us to hear more about what you are doing and what got you to where you are, and what kind of tips would you give to these people?
So let me start with, in the groups that you described, it's really good because even take the people who are striving to be data scientists. So they're trying to understand the technologies, the mathematics, the context and the situations in which they work. But for them to be really effective, I think most effective, they need to understand the other group that you mentioned, the business people who are coming into this, they're thinking of how to use these things, because it's very important to understand the context in which they're going to be used. If you're the technical person who's going to implement it, you'll do a better job. You'll understand what data is the correct data. You aren't just following a prescripted set of steps. And from the other side, and I think this is something that's a little unusual, a little bit new, but really trying to encourage people who are on the business side who have certainly technical skills, but a different set than, say, a data scientist has. But they need to reach a little further. It's to their advantage to reach a little further and actually understand a little bit about how the data science project is happening. So I'll start with the tips. I think one of the things that's most important for people on both sides or all sides to understand is that you can understand an idea, a project, a technique, and you can understand it in a fairly meaningful way, even if you don't have the technical skills to be the person to implement it. And I think that's surprising to people. Mm-hmm. In the talk that I just did, I mentioned here at Buzzwords, and in a talk I just did in Strata, different talk, but that was talking about cross-team communication. But one of the points that I mentioned is it's very important for people to learn the skill of recognizing in their own work and in other people's work what are the absolutely essential concepts, and that is quite a different thing from generalizations about their work. Mm-hmm. And if you can really get to the core of what matters, it helps you understand your work, it helps you be innovative, it helps you learn new technologies if you're coming in as a data scientist, but most importantly, as somebody coming in from the business side, those are the ideas that they need to understand, and they easily can if they are laid out in a way that doesn't use language that makes them, unreachable. And so I think that starting with those absolutely essential concepts is the way that you can find common ground and figure out how to make these projects work. So how did I get to where I am? Through a very circuitous path. I am trained to be a research scientist, but a different kind of data science. So I have a doctorate in biochemistry, and was a research molecular biologist and biochemist for many years. But I've always done a lot of writing and communication in my own field, but also helping groups in other areas to communicate what they're doing, very technical information to a different audience. I think the first time I did this very far out of my own field was in the US for our National Space Administration and for the National Ocean Service. And I wrote material interviewing their research scientists and wrote materials for the public. So I come into this space because I started doing the same thing relative to the machine learning project Apache Mahout, and now a number of other big data topics. And for me, it's exciting because I get to see how a lot of people are working, again, try to understand what those key ideas are, and then try to figure out how that can be made available for a larger audience.
I think it's very inspiring that you actually come from a different background and actually you go into this from a different angle because you have different skill sets and definitely different knowledge to bring in this. So I think it's good for our viewers to know this. With this in mind, if you were to have a robot assisting your job and your daily job, what would you like that robot to do for you that you wouldn't have to do yourself?
Oh, that one's easy. But probably not the interesting answer that you want. The laundry, the bills, the chores, all the other parts of life. So there's a lot more time left for the fun things. I'm afraid that's what my robot would have to be.
I'm sure we're getting there, to be honest. I think we're having this kind of robot soon. So maybe, hope for you.
That's it, yes. Go for those first.
Go for this first. Yes, actually, why not? Yes. It will be so easy. It will be even for quality in a way. No more arguing about the dishes.
No, that's it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Just an idea here, just as you said that, talking about people coming into this profession, I just want to mention this. I think this it's hard and it's exciting, but people are making transitions, even people who already have some very technical skills as developers or so forth, but they're trying to now become data scientists or start to work in this larger data area. And something I think is important to keep in mind is that as individuals, they're making a career change, for example, but this is an area where the entire industry is making a career change. The companies you're going to work for are trying to figure out how to do something new. And so if you find yourself in this situation of a lot of change, a lot of flux because you're making the change, you're not only the only person, but you're going into an industry where it's happening too, and you can bring a fresh view into it.
Okay, cool. Good to know. And my last fun question as well. Okay. This is the kind of trick question we ask the speakers. If a tornado hit your house and you it starts like that, and you could only save one thing, would it be your virtual reality glasses or your smartphone watch?
Well, I'm intrigued by this question. Yes, it's an exciting situation to think about. I would go for the smartphone, and I think it has a practical benefit. I'd be wanting to watch what's going on around me, or maybe because it's one that I already am familiar with. But that's what I would go for.
Thank you so much, Ellen. I'm so happy to have you have a video interview with you, and yes, hope to see you at the Natives Berlin. And yes, yeah, let's make it happen this year again. Yeah, thank you.
Super. Thank you very much.